I too am convinced that we're heading towards inevitable bankruptcy if the left isn't defeated.
Mm-hmm.
But with regard to having our brand tarnished forever by supporting somebody like that, the Chinese, protests don't work against them for their invasion of Tibet because they don't give a damn.
Well, also because they're a communist dictatorship and they literally run tanks over people.
Barack Obama proudly stood in front of a mural of Che Guevara and had his photo taken. He wasn't concerned about his brand being tarnished forever,
right?
Because he doesn't care about his criticism.
Right.
So what we're doing is we're just giving in to the critics by saying, I say that if we could support Stalin to defeat Hitler, we can support an orange-haired carnival barker to defeat Hillary.
Right. So the Stalin-Hitler argument. This is one of my favorites that people use, and it's not like it's a buzzword, but it is a little bit of a buzzword. So when people say the side with Stalin to defeat Hitler, this seems to me a lot more like side with Hitler to defeat the communists in 1932. Right. The fact is that you don't know which one Trump is going to end up being. I mean, Trump is an authoritarian who doesn't believe in the Constitution. So I'm not saying Trump is Hitler, because no one's allowed to say that Hitler was anything except an evil monster who was outside the realm of humanity. But the reality is Trump is an authoritarian who doesn't believe in constitutional boundaries. And so it looks to me more like we're not defeating, it looks more to me like, here's the analogy I'll use. Okay, this is my analogy, and this is not a buzzword. So here's my analogy. My analogy is, I said this in the debate with Sally Cohn earlier, that what we have here is Barack Obama took the country, we were going toward the cliff at 30, now we're going toward the cliff at 90, right? He put the pedal to the metal, and we're in serious trouble, Thelma and Louise style. Hillary Clinton is going to push the pedal to the metal even further. We're now really moving toward that cliff at 120. Trump will move us toward it at 100. He'll make it worse than Obama. He's not going to improve things. Okay, he doesn't have the capacity to do that, but it'll be less bad than Hillary, right? There's only one problem, which is I think he's going to rip out the reverse shaft. I think his capacity for the conservative movement to come back after Trump hijacks it, the president becomes the leader of the party. We all know, we're all still fighting the legacy of W, right? We all know this, right? This is why this last election, that's why the guy who just won the nomination said that George W. Bush was basically a war criminal who was responsible for 9/11, right? And he won the nomination. So we all know that W became kind of this tarnish on the Republican brand. Trump would be that times 10, because he's not a Republican, because he doesn't have any centralizing principles except for his own self-aggrandizement, and because you don't know what he's going to do. Listen, maybe he gets elected. Maybe he becomes Ronald Reagan, in which case I come out and I do a full mea culpa. You guys were all right. It was all terrific. If he doesn't, what I want to know from the Trump people is what could he do where you would say this was a mistake? Right? What could he do where you would say this is a mistake? Or would you just keep saying, well, at least he's better than Hillary? Because that only goes so far. If you want a party that's not Democrats plus just a little bit, at some point you have to stand up and say this is a party that stands for something aside from just beating Hillary Clinton. Right? If you give up principle in favor of victory, I think that you're going to end up with neither principle nor victory.